Right, in this video we're going to talk about brushes in Illustrator. And as you can see, we have the brush tool right here. And when I paint with that, it creates a line. Realize it's always important only to use a stroke when we're working with brushes. And this is just kind of a free-form tool. And you'll notice that it gives us a variety of the stroke. But there's also different shapes of brushes that will create different line width to give a little bit more dynamic quality to your brush. So you can see if I click on that, it'll give me a different option there. Those brushes can be found here in this palette where we have our brushes, and you can see you can add different ones. They might have ones that are styled more like charcoal, or they have ones that have graphics. Some have nuance where we get a little bit of gradation, and here's one that looks like denim, so you can actually add images to them as well. Some are going to be much more useful than others. If you click on this sub-menu here, we can open our brush library. So say the artistic calligraphy brushes, you can see that we get another set of brushes, and when you add a different type of brush, you get a vertical that's wider versus the horizontal or angle. It'll create a different type of mark, so you can see how those brushes work. So that's much more like a calligraphy pen where you have a flat tip on an angle. You can see how those other brushes will get applied as well. So those are some other choices for you. If we wanted to make a custom brush, a good way to do that is, for me, I like this ellipse tool. And so I just make a circle, and then with my direct selection tool I select one edge and drag this out, and then I want to change this anchor point using the anchor point tool under the submenu of the pen tool to convert that to a straight line. And then this shape basically is going to create a wider to a tapered stroke. So I'm going to make that a fill color. I'm going to make this smaller. And then when we drag this shape here to our brushes palette, it asks us this question, to what kind of brush we want. And I'm going to click on an art brush. And then this dialog comes up, and you can see we get some different options on which direction it might go. If it stretches proportionally, you have some options to add the stylus tilt and rotation and pressure if you want some of those. We can also change the size. Sometimes making it smaller makes sense. Here we have a method of colorization. So if we put it on tints, we can change that color. And when you're ready, you just hit OK. And you can see now I've got this new brush right here. So if I were to then click on this brush and make a mark, I get this nice tapered kind of option. So you can see how that works. Now if again it looks too thick or too thin, you can double click on this art brush and change its size. And you can see that that'll ask, do we want to apply that to all the strokes we've already made or leave it? I usually just hit apply, so it might create a little bit more subtle look for you. But this is a great way of finding kind of a custom brush, and you can create any shape into making a brush. But this one I find really useful to make that thick and thin. And we can apply that to any other shape that we've got. So you can see I've got this stroke here. I can just click on this brush and it'll apply that brush quality then to that shape. We can also go back in with our pen tool if we wanted to then change some of these endpoints. So you can see that we could draw simply with the pen tool as well, and then apply that stroke to a path. You can also do the same thing on a shape. So this is a way of getting brushes to be a lot more dynamic in terms of their shape and line quality. So that can be a really important thing in giving your line quality a little bit more dynamics, a little bit more stylized quality, and doing it in a very custom way.